It's 8 p.m. and here are our top stories in 90 seconds.
We're releasing an updated Dial 2.0. It's a more responsive tool that will allow counties to swiftly move up or down based on their needs, desires.
A new COVID dial to replace the old one goes into effect in the morning. It's a true sign there's light at the end of the tunnel.
At some point, of course, the dial will be gone. People might still be cautious, but there won't be any public measures in place to require that.
What this change means for businesses across our state. One business that won't be open, the Grizzly Rose, because of this party. Tonight, the owner explains why he allowed it.
And it's really hard to turn people away, tell them you can't get in, get in your car and go.
Plus, President Biden pushes lawmakers to pass a stimulus bill by the end of the month.
These aren't Democrats or Republicans, they're Americans, and they're suffering.
A questionable history lesson now has students speaking up.
In no situation is it okay to be making jokes or laughing when talking about slavery.
Why this student says her teacher went too far.
She used the phrase, "My little cotton pickers, it's time to stop what you're doing and move on with the lesson."
And new tonight, a local 5th grader is hoping her creativity will bring her sanitizer dispenser design to the national stage.
There's a lot of people entering the contest, which it felt so crazy to me that I was one of the 5 to get in.
Good Friday evening, and thank you for watching Denver7 News on Local 3. I'm Jessica Porter. We start with our top story and an updated state COVID-19 dial going into effect tomorrow morning. Today, Governor Polis announced many counties will go from level orange to level yellow. That means businesses in Denver, Jefferson, Arapahoe, Douglas, Adams, and Boulder counties will be allowed to expand capacity to 50% or 150 people, whichever is fewer. 5-star businesses will be allowed to operate with even fewer restrictions once the state hits its goal of vaccinating Coloradans 70 and up. Tonight, Denver7's CB Cotton has reaction from restaurants.
Tonight we saw Denver Mayor Michael Hancock hand deliver some of the city and county's first 5-star certifications. And some business owners feel very strongly about how all of this is shaking out. Those certifications would have allowed businesses to operate with increased capacity based on level yellow metrics. But now that the state's COVID-19 dial has been updated, that alone will push several counties, including Denver, to level yellow. Some businesses tell us they're thrilled that everyone will now get to take advantage of greater capacity. Others frustrated that they put so much time and energy into 5-star applications.
The whole benefit was to get to 50% being a 5-star, going through all the hoops, and now everyone gets the benefit.
I'm not disturbed at all by the change and the idea that I spent time on this application. I mean, who can't be happy about the news today?
The mayor's office tells Denver7 that a total of 19 businesses were notified today that they received 5-star certification. Now, according to the state, those 5-star businesses will reap some reward for their efforts. When 70% of the state's 70 and older population have been vaccinated, those 5-star businesses can operate with level blue capacity. For Denver7 News on Local 3, I'm CB Cotton.
CB, thank you. And here's a reminder of the capacity limits for restaurants under each level. Under level yellow, like most counties will be under, they can have 150 people. Level blue allows for 175 people indoors. And level green, which is least restrictive, capacity can be up to 500 people. It's Friday night, and instead of people being welcomed into the country music bar, the Grizzly Rose is closed after this video surfaced of hundreds of maskless dancers packed into the bar. Tonight, the owner is now sharing more about why he allowed all of those people inside. Denver7's Addie Guajardo joins us live outside the Grizzly Rose. Addie, the owner says there were long lines last weekend.
Well, Jessica, the owner says there's a lot of pent-up demand for people to get out. He says he didn't advertise on the radio or on television. This was all word of mouth. But now he's paying the consequences for letting those people through the doors.
The music cranked out loud for a maskless crowd packed on the dance floor. It takes us back to the good old pre-pandemic days. The problem is, This was just days ago at the Grizzly Rose.
The Grizzly Rose has closed following Saturday's ill-advised hootenanny.
Denver7 viewers had something to say. More than 5,000 shared their thoughts on our Facebook page. Some in support and others against the decision to violate the state public health order that restricts businesses to 25% capacity or fewer than 50 people. Scott Durland
may have been wrong.
The owner of the Grizzly Rose is sharing more about what happened. He says staff called him Saturday night about the ridiculously long lines outside the country music bar.
I had to make a call, and per the state mandate, that's correct. There was over 50 people in here.
He says he didn't have the staff to manage the crowd outside.
It's really hard to turn people away, tell them you can't get in, get in your car and go. It doesn't end well usually.
He also worried about the impact of future business.
We're very careful that we don't want to lose our core business in the long run for just enforcing the mandate.
He says a 50-person capacity for a 50,000 square foot dance hall,
1,000 square foot per person,
simply doesn't pay the bills. He says he's laid off 72 employees.
Everybody that comes through that door is who pays those bills.
He says he made the decision to voluntarily shut down his business. Then Tri-County Health ordered the bar remain closed for not following mask and social distancing requirements and exceeding indoor capacity restrictions. It's not clear when the bar can reopen, but Durland says he needs a 500-person capacity to cover expenses for the beloved dance hall that's been around since 1989.
Now, it did reach out to several bars to get their take on Durland's decision. Some say that it's decisions like these that hurt small businesses that are actually following the state and county protocols and guidelines that are set. Others didn't want to speak out, saying they don't want to lose a customer. Reporting live, Addie Guajardo, Denver7.
Thank you, Addie. Putting that incident aside, Coloradans are clearly invested in beating this virus. 1,800 cases and 23 deaths were confirmed in Colorado today. 560 hospital beds are in use. The positivity rate is 4%. The numbers haven't been this reassuring in months. The TSA says you better wear a mask if you go to the airport, because if you don't, you could be hit with some big fines. A first offense is $250. That can grow up to $1,500 for repeated violations. These fines could be in addition to others that airlines themselves could put into place. The Federal Aviation Administration also says it will crack down on anyone who disrupts a flight over wearing a mask. Right now, organizers at Red Rocks are coming up with several scenarios to continue shows this summer. They say they are working with promoters, but it is still too early to determine attendance capacity and dates. Democrats are moving forward with plans to begin drafting a new stimulus aid package next week. They hope to speed it through the House by the end of the month. Today, the Senate approved the resolution, with Vice President Kamala Harris breaking a 50-50 tie. One of the biggest draws of the new stimulus bill is the $1,400 stimulus checks, but not everyone will get a stimulus check this time around. Instead of the $75,000 limit for receiving the first two stimulus checks, President Biden is looking to lower that threshold to $50,000.
Most people, tallying up all Americans, are earning closer to $50,000.
Again, we should learn new information next week as Democrats form their proposal. The 95-year-old man accused of killing an assisted living facility employee in Lafayette made his first appearance in court today. Okie Payne came into the courtroom in a wheelchair and seemed to have trouble following the judge's instructions. He was eventually appointed a public defender and taken back to jail. Payne is expected to be charged with murdering 39-year-old Ricardo Medina Rojas, a father of two. Despite repeated attempts, Legacy Assisted Living has not answered our questions as to why Payne was allowed to keep the gun he admits to using. Day 3 of the Kelsey Schelling murder trial was all about cell phone towers and whether those towers tell us about where Dante Lucas was on the night Schelling disappeared. Cell phone towers are often used as evidence in criminal cases, despite criticism from experts who say their ability to represent a person's location is often exaggerated. All new at 8. We are hearing from a local 5th grade girl on her design for a soap dispenser. Jillian from Peak to Peak Charter School is behind this colorful entry. It's for SC Johnson's Happy Hands Dispenser Design Contest.
Well, I was thinking when you touch a lot of stuff, you get germs on your hands, and then when you go to wash them, there's like bubbles, and then the bubbles kind of like attack the virus or like germs that are on your hand.
She is adorable. The winner gets $1,000 for their school plus a $300 gift card for themselves. The contest runs through February 28th and the winner will be announced in April. You can vote at happyhands.scjp.com.
In no situation is it okay to be making jokes or laughing when talking about slavery.
Students raise concerns about a history lesson during Black History Month.
I was horrified, but I didn't really know what to do with it.
We managed low 40s today. There's a 50 in the forecast, but also a big cold wave.
Coming up, days later, and Rockies fans remain baffled.
As a Rockies fan, it's maddening.
We have a 360 conversation on the head-scratching trade of Nolan Arenado.
It is legitimately one of the bleakest futures for any Major League Baseball team.